I'm Craig Pretzinger.
And I'm Jason Feldman.
We're just a couple of insurance dudes.
So passionate about telemarketing telefunnels.
We've hacked the mechanics of top agents' telefunnels.
You'll see behind the scenes of
how you can sell more,
save time,
reduce the cost of your leads,
and produce predictable results every single day.
Let's get it on.
Woo! Boom, we are in, Mr. Craig.
Oh. I feel like there's a Michael Scott joke there, but I won't say it.
Well, okay, so this is we're going to talk a little bit about me. We talked about talking about meetings. That's the last one and how important they were, right?
Yeah, the setup.
The setup. But it's ominous at first. Wouldn't you agree?
I would. I really struggled at the beginning with that with that time management of having the meetings.
Yeah.
But it's just like anything else. It's just, it becomes a habit, and you have to do it uncomfortably for a couple weeks. And then all of a sudden it then is uncomfortable to not do it. Just like going to the gym or whatever. And
I would say that even with the time management's one thing, but then also like, what do you talk about and how do you make those meetings productive?
Yep.
Right. But it is important to do them consistently and everything. We talk about doing them at the beginning of the day can kind of set your team up right. And then also having an agenda and, focusing on something to talk about. So what kind of things, you probably have the biggest array of tools in your arsenal to do meetings on. What are some of the topics that you guys workshop?
Well, we still have never done the teapot, but that's your one.
That's fun.
Yeah. We'll do like a rapid fire, assuming the quote, because they always can use practice on that. That's muscle memory. If that transfer comes over and the person says, well, and 50% of the time they say, I told her I don't want a quote. That's a quote. Like, you're going to get a quote out of that if you're able to respond quickly. And if it's not practiced, 100% they're going to just go, okay. And then they mess up, and they'll do that a lot at the beginning too, which is fine. They just have to get used to it. It's that muscle memory. So the same thing happens in the meeting. It's really interesting because they'll say, oh, I wasn't ready. And you go next, and you just go to the next person. And then they start getting engaged because they don't want to look stupid. And you can tell them, look, you don't look stupid. This is why we're doing it now. So that when you are taking something that we just paid for, you have a better result. And everything that we do is constantly honing your skill set so that you are getting a better result. You can always get a better result. I mean, I literally in last November thought there's no way we can ever get to 100K. I mean, I was like, it's impossible. After this first month of the third agency, I'm like, this is
okay.
The last month of which was the first month of that new agency, I was like, oh, it's not going to happen, And then I really was sideways in December, and then it broke in January. But it was just constantly doing those things that you don't see immediate results on. Right. That I think is the most challenging thing. This is why everybody folds. This is why everybody, all the peers that we have say internet leads suck, because you don't see immediate results in the beginning. You start to, they haven't seen that distribution thing that I pulled up in the sales that you went over yesterday. And we could pull that up at some point, but, as you improve, like now 17% of our new business comes from first call closes. 17%. Right. Which, I mean, we were at zero. We never had first call closes in the first few months.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah. This is huge.
It is huge. And it's finding the framework for meetings is so easy. Like, we obviously have a whole bunch of examples in the Peak Performance Challenge and stuff that we use, but the framework I would say is easy. What are the biggest pain points in the office, right? What are the biggest, we were just talking about on service, and like one of the big things is, rate increases or my payment jumped up, right? You could literally ask your team, what are the pain points? Write them down on a board or just piece of paper. You can write it down anywhere, really. Write it down and then come up with whatever those, have them come up with the responses to it. And then choose the best response and then practice it as if you're a golfer going up for your swing and practice the same swing every time. That's basically the framework to meetings.
Yeah.
Is to get the practice on the things that we struggle with to a level that it's not struggling, it's solid. And a good example of this, we were talking about this morning, a good example of this is when you walk into a store and somebody says, you know, they're kind of like, you know, you talk to anybody with any business and you have a problem, right? You talk to that person and they start going, yeah, well, let me see, let me try this. And they start saying those type of things. Automatically, you think they're incapable. Can I speak with your manager? Right? That's what you do because they don't sound like they can handle it. The person that cuts you off and you're like, oh, I got this problem or something, and they cut you off. No, listen, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to handle it. All of a sudden, they're the authority. They're in charge. You trust them, right? And same thing with sales, service, or whatever it is. If we practice those things that we sound like a dumb, you know, I don't want to curse, but like we sound like an idiot. You know what I mean? If you sound like an idiot, people are going to treat you like an idiot. You're not going to get any results. So with all this stuff, just train on the parts that you just struggling with, and then you're not going to struggle that hard anymore.
Yeah, and they'll get in their head about what to say, but remember, it's not what you said; it's how you made them feel, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're coming across with that certainty, it doesn't matter what you say. I mean, you can't say blah 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 blah, right? But you say something that's along the lines of helping them and having a solution, even if it's not perfectly said. If it's said with certainty and confidence, they trust. So it's how did they feel good about your response, whether it was a bunch of jibber jabbish or not, even though you came in strong and certain. And that makes a difference. And again, doing these things repetitively are what create that strong certainty around answering those questions. You're never going to have the right, you know, there's always a new thing. And to Jason's point about putting stuff up on the board, when we get into objections, like on our board in my other office where all the producers are, that board, it has objections. And I mean, really, they're all the same. It's all the same stuff. You know, typically I got to talk to my spouse. I need to think about it.
I don't have money
tomorrow. I don't have money, whatever, right? It's all the same things, but there's some little nuance and differences. If you hear your staff and you put it up there, they're feeling good that you're listening. They're feeling good that you're solving their problem, which solves the problem of the people that they're talking to. But we workshop all those. Oh, let's do this one. Oh, let's do this one. And really most of it's the same answer anyway. If we took care of that, would you be ready to move forward? Suppose we handled that, right? So there's a lot of really simple things that insert this same thing in almost every single response, and it works.
Yep. Oh, I like this. So this is from the Peak Performance Challenge, right?
Yep.
So Craig is showing a meeting agenda framework. This is awesome. Right. And how many pages is this?
This is just one. So there, and then we have examples of all the different ones, but you know, some folks want to have it mapped out step by step. You can do it any way you want. This is just a guide, you know, but you can say, hey, what time do we start? What time is, just so that they see something on paper and you can give it to them. Hey, here's our agenda that we're going to be using every day. You know, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. So now they're not surprised. And
love it.
You know, then there's example ones of like assuming the quote, right? So we put it all in there. So, you know, all the different stuff for each type of meeting you can put in there. Have somebody record it. You know, if you record the meetings and you play them back, huge, right? If you started or have done any parts of the Peak Performer Challenge, then you'll know that there's a part about hot seats. We're really, really big on hot seats. It's the equivalent of a sports team reviewing the tape. Anybody done sports? Right? Everybody's done sports.
I was the embarrassing guy. Yeah.
Right.
I was the embarrassing kid on the team.
Right. But you reviewed tape, right? And how powerful was it reviewing the tape? You know, seeing how how the guy ran to the right instead of the left or whatever, some little thing. I think football is such an interesting example because there's so much repetition in football. They don't practice the Statue of Liberty play over and over again because that's the weird one. They practice running up the middle the most. And is it or is it not the easiest play, right? It's the easiest play, but for whatever reason, something can go wrong, right? If the quarterback doesn't count half a second or whatever and then turn, the whole thing falls apart. And so it's critical to do these things. And these are pros. Like these are the, when you get up to the highest of the levels, the best of the best, I mean, they're still practicing every day. They still have a coach. They don't just guess, right? The Randy Mosses of the world end up going away because they cause problems. They're not part of the team. And so you want to make sure, I mean, Jason,
what's a Randy Moss?
Well, it's he's a receiver that was not a team player, right? And then there's who's the one that was on Dallas?
What's on Dallas?
Anybody remember there was another guy that stood on the star? Or no, maybe that was Randy Moss.
You're talking about Terrell Owens.
T.O. Right. So and then T.O. another problem child. But these are the ones that can disrupt the team, even if they're doing the best and writing the most. Jason just ejected his top salesperson because it was affecting the rest of the team. Really, really hard to do. I've done that before. I had a 90 item a month producer, had to get rid of him. It's the worst. But afterwards you're happy and it makes life better. Totally got
it. Just makes sense. Yeah. No, but
yeah,
I agree. Yeah. So I love this framework. It's in the Peak Performance Challenge, which is something you get with Teledudes. But let's just kind of end that there. I think that, we've kind of gone over the importance of the meeting, a couple topics that you can talk about. Definitely go over sales calls. Yeah. And just have everybody talk about what they're doing, what their goals are, Yeah. Because it becomes real when people talk about that. Then the next day, were you able to hit those goals?
Yeah.
It's so simple.
And there's a fine line too between pushing them to be uncomfortable. They have to get a little uncomfortable. And that happens in the hot seats. You got to make them a little uncomfortable. You also have to know how far you can push, because if you push too far, you can freak some people out. So there's that balance. And you'll see, I did it to one of my staff, or one of my producers, that she's like almost a 30,000 a month producer. I pushed her kind of hard in the meeting in front of everybody, and she did not like it. And in the meeting, she said, well, I'm putting my resume on, and like in front of everybody, I'm like, whoa, And so then after the meeting, I brought her in, we had to have a talk, and, she said some other, she's like, it's fine. I'm just, whatever. But, so also know how far you can push them to. So,
yeah. But you got to push, because you can't gain muscle unless you go to the gym and you push the hard weights. If you go to the gym and you push the easy weights, there's not going to be no results from that. You got to push it a little bit, but definitely
like
know
salt
your
and
limits.
Like, push it, baby.
Yes.
Yeah,
all right, cool.
like
so next one, we'll start talking a little bit on metrics and stuff like that on the next podcast.
Boom.
Hey, Jason.
Yes, Mr. Craig.
That was another awesome episode, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if people want to get a little bit more action and learn how to write 100,000 in premium off of even the worst internet leads, where could they go?
They can go to live.teledudes.com.
Ooh, that sounds exciting. Are we going to be there?
Yes. It's a weekly call that we're doing right now. It's live, and it will show you the process. The entire process is super awesome.
I love it. Let's do it.
Sign up right now. live.teledudes.com.
live.teledudes.com. That's live.teledudes.com.
Hey, Craig, there's a new community that we are starting that I cannot wait to tell everybody about. It is our live texting community, where you and I are going to answer people's questions and give them free content, right?
Are you kidding me? We get to talk to them?
Yeah, which is awesome, but they have to opt in. They have to text us at 520-214-2626. 2219. That's 520-214-2219.
Nice.
Craig, are you going to respond to these texts?
I'm going to respond to them for sure. Live.
I'm into it too. It's going to be awesome. And it's going to be our new texting community where we're going to get back to everybody that we can and drop some crazy content, free content, and free the calculator that you just came up with. That's right. The calling calculator, sales material. I mean, everything for insurance agents. This is it. It's the best texting community out there for insurance agents.
Well, what the heck is that number again? I can't remember it.
It's 520-214-2219. That's 520-214-2219.
I love it. I'm going to text it right now.
520-214-2219.
All right. I'll see you later, Mr. Jason.
Bye, Mr. Craig.
Wait, do they even listen to this on the radio anymore?
I love it. I love it.
Nice.